Ladies and gentlemen, we're here.
I'm part of the Kliq, isn't everybody?
Yes! 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 I got an idea, yeah. Beat up John Cena!
Give me a hell yeah!
Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
Too sweet! This is where the power lies!
I am the man.
If you can survive!
It's showtime, folks!
The following episode is scheduled for one fall, and it is for your listening pleasure. This is In The Kliq.
What's up, everybody? Baby Huey here, and joining me once again is my good brother from Within the Ropes and the Blood Cast. It's BrianTronic. How's it going, man?
It's going great, Huey. I'm glad to be back. It's fantastic.
Yeah, man, me too. Dude, it's so much to get into. What a 24 hours in the world of pro wrestling and sports entertainment. Originally, like full disclosure to all the Kliqsters out there, I was kind of thinking about just taking like tonight off. It was a busy weekend. The Super Bowl happened, so I didn't have a chance to record like my normal weekend show where I talk, Raw and SmackDown. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll do it like Monday or Tuesday or something. But then I was like, at this point, maybe I'll wait till just save the next WWE related podcast for like after Elimination, just review that. But nope, plans changed within the last, like I said, 24 hours. So much has gone down, breaking news, huge news stories.
Yep.
And I was like, you know what? I cannot pass up on this. For all the Kliqsters listening right now, I think you guys know when it comes to like podcasting and talking about current events, current news in relation to pro wrestling, people want to hear people's reaction right away, don't want to wait. So I was like, we got to record today, day of all this breaking news, and just get the podcast out there. And that way, while the iron's hot, as they say. So with that being said, like I said, so much to get into. I woke up this morning, or actually last night before I went to bed. So for everyone listening right now, we're recording on a Tuesday night. We'll probably get the podcast out sometime Wednesday. But so Monday night, I was getting ready for bed, and I saw some people tweeting about Stone Cold, and I was like, I didn't know what fully was going on. I was like, I go to bed. I'll wake up and look it up tomorrow. And then I wake up this morning. I get to work super early. I just be everyone just going off talking about Stone Cold coming back. And I was like, what's going on? And any other day in the week or year, that would be the biggest story. But then some other major news dropped this morning around 7 a.m. our time, Pacific time. Yep. So that's the story we'll lead off here. It's the news that Cody Rhodes and Brandi Rhodes have announced they are leaving AEW, which shocking. Listen, I am shocked. I know Brian, you and I were talking off the air, just kind of like our reactions and stuff. Yeah. And so I have a kind of a list of things just to kind of tap into as far as this whole subject here. I am shocked. I cannot believe this. The whole world on Twitter is reacting to this. There are some people who think it's a work, which is very interesting. And, so yeah, dude, I cannot believe it. So, I'll go ahead and I forgot to actually bring this up right now. So Cody Rhodes, I saw his initial tweet, where I saw a lot of different wrestling journalists and stuff tweeting oh my God, some major news are coming. They were hinting at something. I was like, oh my God, what is going on here? Sure enough, Cody Rhodes officially posted a statement on Twitter and Instagram. So did Brandi Rhodes. They're pretty long, so, please follow them on social media or check them out for the full statement. But also AEW put a statement out on social media to confirm that, yes, Brandi and Cody Rhodes are leaving AEW. So I'll read the statement here from them. Let me just scroll through this. Oh, man, there's so much. Oh, yeah, they had AEW Dark. It's all on their social media page right now. Yep. So, yeah, it was this morning. Oh, there's Tony Nese. Where's he been? Sorry, I'm looking at all these pictures on their Twitter page right now. Let's see. Where is it? Man, they had a lot of stuff. My bad. I should have pulled this up earlier. I just thought, okay, here we go. So the tweet they sent out said, "Thank you, Cody and Brandi Rhodes. Cody and Brandi Rhodes were integral to the launch of All Elite Wrestling. Cody's ability, combined with his boldness and his passion for our industry and his love for community outreach, help AEW deliver on our mission to give fans what they needed for far too long, something new, innovative, and lasting. Brandy helped us shape the AEW story and appreciate how hard she fought for us both in the ring and out of the ring, competing in the women's division while advancing our efforts at inclusion and civic causes, including great partnerships with Culture City and the American Heart Association. I have immense respect and appreciation for Cody and Brandy. I wish them both the best as they move on from AEW. Thank you, Cody and Brandy." That's from Tony Khan, CEO, President, General Manager, and Head of Creative, All Elite Wrestling. So, yeah, As of right now, it seems official that, Cody and Brandi Rhodes are leaving AEW officially. Some people are saying, "Oh, this is just a work; it's all part of a storyline." Because we all know Cody, he's very plays things close to the vest. And for me personally, I don't think it's a work, because if they do this, you gotta trust their word as a company and stuff. Because then, when it comes to future incidents where they got to post an announcement or something, people won't take that seriously anymore. You know what I mean? You don't want to. When it comes to like serious stuff, when you're like press releases and announcements, you want to be sincere and legit with that. Shoot stuff. You don't want to part of a storyline, because then when you do it down the road with other examples or events or whatnot, people are not going to take it seriously, and then people are always questioning. I know it's pro wrestling; you want to question everything if it's kayfabe or not. But in this situation, I believe it's real, and plus, a lot of major outlets were reporting this and confirming it and talking to their sources. So at this point, it is official. So, Brian, I'll start with you, man. Just your initial thoughts, reactions to the news that Cody and Brandi Rhodes are leaving AEW.
I was shocked. It felt like I was blindsided. It felt like, I remember I was on the phone with my wife. I was on the phone with Cindy, and oh my goodness, like, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. Like, it's one of those things that you never, no way. Like, okay, like, I always thought when AEW started, like, okay, Cody, he's an EVP there. He is he now, like, he's one of the founders of the company, and he was a big part of it. I mean, he helped get it, in my opinion, off the ground creatively, and just the matches that they had in the earlier days. It's just crazy. I would have never thought that, even with all the talk of him not being him being a free agent, and him not being on a contract, working on kind of a handshake deal, I just thought, okay, maybe, they'll work something out. Handshake deal. Okay. That usually means that, I'm not going anywhere. But I mean, if the handshake deal and that news before tells us anything, and comparing it to even other people, like, other people like Adam Cole, for example, working on a handshake deal for NXT, or a lot of other guys who worked for WWE and in NXT up until their contract ran out. It's just like, wow, like, I don't know why we didn't see this coming, already, or at least I'm twisted with words. Like, it feels like you never know what can happen. Like, you never know. Like, people can speculate and think things are great, or people don't care about the finances or whatever. I'm not saying it's that, but you really don't know what's going to happen. Who's going to end up anywhere? No matter what. No matter if you started it or created it or whatever. Like,
I get what you're saying. For me, it's like, after Cody left, what was it, 6 years ago now? Was that how long ago it's been? Was it 2016?
2016, yeah.
Let me double check real quick. I didn't really think he would ever go back, because I felt like he probably thought he can do, I felt like for him, when he left WWE, he had a bunch of goals. Remember, he posted like a list of things he wanted to do and people he wanted to face. Mm-hmm. And he went out on the road to the independents and really proved himself and reinvented himself and kind of won the fans over. And he really paved the way of what it is to show life after WWE. And you see that now with a lot of people who maybe get released from WWE. And he proved that there is life after them, that you can go out there and still be successful, even become a bigger star than what you were in WWE. It's not the only place to go and wrestle and be successful. So he really laid that template out. And with that being said, I thought he doesn't need to go back. He proved that he can be financially, taken care of and successful and become a bigger star and prove that there are other ways to make a living in pro wrestling. So, and with that being said, he helped launch the second largest pro wrestling company in the world right now and have that creative freedom and be an EVP and all that stuff. It really I thought, there's no way he would leave all this behind. He has other business ventures now. We're working with, Warner Media, the Go Big Show, and the Roads to the Top on TNT and TBS. It just seemed like he is taken care of, and he doesn't need to go back to WWE or whoever. And we'll get into why we're bringing up WWE. I just felt like he's fine where he's at, and why go back to a situation that wasn't as good for him? So I'm shocked, and I'm really stunned. I really thought, when talking about, working without a contract and teasing about it in his promos, I thought it was all kind of a work, part of his character to a larger story that he was trying to develop here. But no, it really is. He's ready to leave now. And so, what kind of brought all this on? So, it was reported, a couple things here as far as, Cody announcing him and Brandy were leaving. He was thankful for his time there and everything, but apparently it kind of got broken down too. So they've been contract negotiations for the last couple months now. And as you said, working without a contract, handshake deal. Apparently, ultimately, they just couldn't agree on an amount of money. I think Cody wanted more money. Tony Khan didn't want to agree to it. Which I see both sides. I've dealt with contract negotiations at work and stuff, and I've seen coworkers deal with this. I can't blame anyone for wanting more money. If you feel you are valuable to that company, you have every right to demand as much money as you want or feel that you deserve. But at the same time, you're a company. You got your own expenses and budget. You probably figure I can only afford this much, and I got to look at the bigger picture. I could pay one person a lot of money, or I can take that salary and spend it towards multiple people or whatnot. So, with that being said, Cody, I understand that part. I'm sure for Cody, he probably felt like, listen, I helped start this company, and in 3 years, we're the second largest promotion in the world. You got a huge TV deal, and I'm sure this company was a startup company, but now it's worth a lot more money. And then when the next TV deal comes up with Warner, I'm sure they can negotiate more money. So he probably is like, I should be rewarded for this. Like, you guys are all making money because of ultimately what I did. If you really think about it, when he left in 2016 and when he was able to accomplish, this all led to the creation of AEW. So, so I see where he's coming from. And it was just really interesting seeing a lot of the talent and people reacting and just a lot of people praising. It was just kind of weird, though. I don't know about you, but did you see like a lot of people like posting photos about Cody? It was almost like it was kind of eerie because to me it kind of felt like they were posting in memoriam of him, like he passed away or something. I was like, he just left AEW. It's not like he died or anything. It was just kind of weird the way people were posting, but I get it. Some of them were saying like thank you because it's the end of for a lot of people working with him, so they just want to at least thank him. So I do get that part, but just kind of it was a little eerie to me a little bit. Yeah,
a little weird.
yeah. And a lot of people were questioning about Dustin. Dustin Rhodes tweeted out he's not going anywhere. He loves AEW, so he's sticking around. And let's see, I'm just kind of looking at some of my other notes here. So yeah, it had to do with money. They just couldn't agree on a new contract deal and how, for how much. And Cody wanted more money. And I'm guessing same thing for Brandy. And then, people reacting to that. Dustin Stain. With that being said, people were reporting that Cody now, his camp at least, I think it was, who was it here? WrestleVote said, tweet out that his source that they fully anticipate WWE and Rhodes coming to an agreement. Andrew Zarian reported that Cody's camp has been in talks with WWE about a possible deal. And then who was the other one? I'm looking here. What's his name? Ariel Helwani? Is that his name? Mm-hmm. He also reported about this Cody leaving and it talks with WWE. So that's the thing now. It's like, because of this, him leaving, it looks like WWE and Cody Rhodes are in talks about, working together again, and Cody re-signing with WWE. So, man, that's such a trip just to think about that stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'll turn it to you, man. Like, your thoughts on Cody possibly returning to WWE now.
It's weird. Chris Jericho. Yeah, I fully expect Jericho to be. I expect to hear Break the Walls Down in the future again, right? But Cody, I didn't think. Cody was kind of the guy out of everyone who was basically, he put everything out there on the line. Like, I remember at first his approach to WWE while being EVP or an employee of AEW. I know his approach was to never burn your bridges, right? He always used to say that. But then you turn around and, at the next pay-per-view, he'd be, whether he's smashing the throne, yes, or doing something crazy that had some type of connection with Triple H and NXT and the Wednesday Night Wars and stuff. Cody was really the only one out there doing things like that. I mean, Jericho, he, demo God and stuff like that, but Jericho never said too much. He would celebrate the ratings and stuff like that, but Cody was really the one that was kind of like, yo, this is really a war. And so he's the last guy that I thought would ever leave AEW, and then I would read or hear that there's possibility that he may be in talks or he may be coming back to WWE in the near future. It's weird because now it's just like, well, Cody, like, everyone knows like how he felt when he left, and the opportunities and what he wanted to accomplish, the opportunity he didn't have, the creative freedom, like you mentioned, Huey. Like, I'm curious to know what it is other than the money, because we know WWE got the money.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah. So like I said, so Andrew Zarian from the Matman podcast, also, he does stuff with Wrestling Observer Radio. So yeah, he tweeted, I can confirm that Cody's camp has been in contact with WWE officials. And like I said, Ariel Helwani said, huge developing news in the world of pro wrestling. Cody Rhodes is leaving AEW, sources say. And I'm told Rhodes and WWE are in fact talking about him returning to the organization in the near future, I'm told. So it's just trippy because I never thought he would go back to WWE, because he became a bigger star away from WWE, reinvented himself, creatively put himself in a better spot. And I don't know if why would he go back to a place that kind of mistreated him, especially towards the end, the whole Stardust thing and stuff. I'm shocked. But then again, I get it. Money talks, and, he's a father now. I'm sure he's probably thinking, Cody's been very vocal about trying to want to retire by 40, and that's in a few years. So I'm sure for him, he's like, maybe I can get one more big payday, save up, and then, have things lined up for his family and his daughter specifically. I get that. Maybe he's like, you know what? I spent the last 6 years proving to everyone, I proved everyone wrong, that I can go out there, be successful, work other promotions, I mean, think about it. He went through the Indies, then he went to New Japan, Ring of Honor, and then AEW, Impact for a cup of coffee. So he proved to everyone that he can go out there and be successful. And I think a lot of people respect him for that. And I loved him for that, what he's able to accomplish. So the fact he's going back to WWE, though, I'm just kind of concerned unless he is able to, part of his deal, say like, he has somewhat creative control, or he's telling like, hey, I'll come back, but I can't be Stardust again. Maybe I know it doesn't really happen, but like maybe he can like wants a WWE title run or something like that, or get that at some point. Maybe that's one thing he felt like he deserves to, or he wants to accomplish at least one more time, or accomplish in his career. So it's really interesting. So, with that being said, though, what do you think of just Cody's run in AEW overall, the good or bad? Just like your overall thoughts on his 3-year run.
I thought it was decent. I mean, I'm a little disappointed we didn't get the follow up, or the big payoff or follow, whatever you want to call it, between him and MJF. I felt like they there could have been more done there. But yeah, I think it is clear that Cody's run in AEW seemed like it was coming. It felt like a very John Cena-esque, like derail almost, right? Like he was so loved in the beginning for a very short period of time, and now at this point in AEW, especially with all the fan favorites and people that are coming in the company now at this point, it's just like, and I think in this time with how the wrestling world is and the fans, like the fans are very like I would say in somewhat kind of in control. Like it's when it's time to, all right, this isn't the guy anymore. The fans will let you know, like this. Hey, we don't want this, or we want this guy to be a baby face, or we want, you know what I mean? So I felt like when the fans sort of turned and made it clear that, okay, it's time for Cody to be heel, and Cody doesn't want to be heel, kind of taking that John Cena approach.
No, maybe that's kind of it. Maybe that's part of the reasons why you want to leave. Maybe, just fantasy booking here, fantasy talk. Maybe they want him to turn heel and he didn't want it. And he's like, you know what? I can't deal with this. I'm not going to turn heel, so I'm leaving. I mean, maybe that's one reason. Who knows? You kind of look at the landscape of things. So remember, there were reports over the last year and a half that the Elite, or specifically all the EVPs, Cody, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, initially, they were all buds, part of the Bullet Club and Ring of Honor and New Japan, all started AEW together. Everyone seemed to be on the same page, all tight, super close, friendly. But that all kind of dissolved, and like the relationship between Cody and the rest of them just really fell apart and really distant. There were reports and rumors that they weren't all working together. They just weren't on the same page. And you look at the roster and who they've been bringing in lately, it's a lot of people that are friends with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. Yep. Various members of Bullet Club Pass are coming in. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe from Cody's perspective, he's probably thinking, man, from a political standpoint, I have no pull right now. It's a numbers game. If it's a numbers game, I'm outnumbered right now as far as like all these other egos and personalities. Like I can't compete with all this because, Adam Cole, Jay White's now coming in. Good Brothers have been there in the past. Other guys on that roster who have worked with them in Ring of Honor and New Japan. I'm sure for Cody, he's like, I'm outnumbered here. I can't compete with all of this, and I can't.
And I was gonna say, and especially if at this point, him and Brandy aren't even like the fan favorites. Like it'd be different if the fans were speaking and they were behind Cody, and it was like clear that the fans, we love Cody. Like he was like, Brandy's had, not very much success as a on-air personality with the fans. It's hard. It's been hard for her to get over, I believe, ever since the start, really. And Cody has been like a one-trick guy in a sense, like in the AEW system. It's like I said, it's very John Cena-esque. Like you get it, you get what you get. It's the same guy, no matter if he changes his hair blonde or black. It doesn't matter. You get the same Cody Rhodes every time, and I think people got tired of it pretty quickly.
I mean, that's the thing is that first year of Cody and AEW was amazing. As far as the match with Dustin at Double or Nothing, brother versus brother turned to a bloodbath, and the story they told in that ring and the emotions. It was one of the best matches I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Amazing. And then, when he went into the storyline with Chris Jericho, after Chris Jericho won the AEW World Championship, and Cody was the number one contender, and it was almost like the Elite versus the Inner Circle. And, the promos Cody was cutting were amazing. Like that first big promo he cut on Dynamite to Jericho and the Inner Circle was like so good, heartfelt. And then Cody Rhodes came off as this badass baby face, which is tough because WWE has trouble in recent years putting a compelling and tough baby face on the roster. Everyone in WWE likes the cool heel over there. Mm-hmm. But here, Cody Rhodes was a baby face and was tough. I remember the Inner Circle were all hanging out in that suite, and Cody Rhodes ran through the crowd. MJF gave him his scarf, punched through the glass door, got in, and was beating the crap out of Inner Circle. Like he came off like a badass baby face, and people were loving it and eating it. I think where things started changing though, when Cody, had the stipulation of if he lost to Jericho, he would never go after the world championship ever again. And he lost, and for the last couple of years now, that stipulation's been in place, and he's never been in the main event scene again. And I kind of wonder, looking back on that now, if I ever have a chance to interview him again, I would say, do you think that kind of hurt your overall run? Because I think at that point, it kind of put a ceiling on him and what do people expect out of him and what they saw out of him. It's like, okay, I could cheer for you, but I know you can never go in the main event picture scene again. So it's like, ultimately, what are you doing for? Like, what are you wrestling for? What are your goals now? Sure, he was a 3-time TNT champion, but I think over a while, the way he was kind of booking himself, a lot of people were kind of getting frustrated, like he was always putting himself over versus other people. So I think that was an issue there. People were kind of seeing. And just over time, he kind of really worn down, I think, his draw with the audience, with the fan base. And then ultimately, like where he's been going ever since, it's like, what is this character? What is going on here? I know he doesn't like, he does interviews and he gives like cryptic answers where he's like, I'm trying to do something different you've never seen before. And people are trying to interpret, like, what is going on here? This is not a traditional baby face. People are booing him, booing his wife. But he's not going heel. Like, what is going on here? We don't know how's the story playing out. It's not so black and white, clear picture here. So I think a lot of people are just getting frustrated. It's like, dude, you're getting booed. Turn heel and just, win back everyone. So it was just kind of frustrating. And now what sucks is we're never going to see this story fully play out now. What was the end game here ultimately? And who knows? Maybe there was never an end game in mind. I don't know. But it's just frustrating because it never, the story kind of seemed like it was going nowhere. And I think that's what got people frustrated too. Is like, you're just ignoring the fans now. You're just doing what you want. But like, we don't know where this is going. I think a lot of people got tired of that as well. So I love Cody Rhodes. I've always loved watching him wrestle. And in his style of wrestling, he's great at telling stories in the ring. I'll always be a fan of that. But yeah, it was just frustrating. And as a fan too, like, where was this going? And I think a lot of people were just losing interest in him. And even like, even his promos starting to suffer too. Like his promos towards the end were not as good. They were kind of all over the place, and some people criticize him if they're a little tone deaf or he wasn't properly reading the room and what the fans wanted to hear. He was kind of just going all over the place, addressing things, doing a lot of inside talk. And remember, he was talking about race and all this other stuff, and a lot of people were just like, "This doesn't make sense. What you're talking about."
I think that feud with a go-go was like the beginning of the end for Cody Rhodes, the character in AEW.
Absolutely.
I think that was the start, and I don't think he ever really recovered from that. I know that he I know that he left, with the baby, and then came back for a short period of time. I don't know, and I think you're right about the AEW world title situation. Like, I think because there's nowhere really you can go if it's said. I mean, unless you bend the rules, but then you risk fans coming in and being like, "Hey, you said Cody couldn't challenge for the title," and then you risk people hating Cody even more because at that point everyone knows he's an EVP, and so it's just like, you're not sticking to your word type thing.
Yeah, well, and you brought up a good point. It's like these feuds. He would have a variety of feuds. Anthony Ogogo, QT Marshall. Yeah. A lot of them were not that engaging, and a lot of people say. It was really interesting because when the rumors of him and the Elite had a falling out, the other EVPs, I should say, watching Dynamite, it was like watching two different shows. There was like the Cody segment.
Yes.
And then there was everyone else.
Yep.
Cody would have a program with someone and it would just be that one segment, but you never saw Cody, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega on the screen together at the same time. So it was really weird.
And I feel like it's funny you say that because it's almost like watching two different programs, right? But also two different styles of pro wrestling, right? Cody, it seemed like he was trying to give us that old school style pro wrestling, grungy, like attitude, like even in his promo. Yeah, even in his promos, just the passion, even storytelling in the matches. And again, you got the Bucks and Kenny, who seemed like they were just trying to put on great matches. You know what I mean? And
yeah, you brought up a good point because you think about Cody Rhodes, his DNA, his family background. He grew up, or he got his wrestling career started in WWE in sports entertainment, so he learned that system. But then, obviously, his dad grew up, was part of the NWA and WCW.
Yeah.
So those type of storytelling, that type of wrestling, that era was a big influence on him. And so he tried to bring that updated version to AEW's programming versus like the Young Bucks and a lot of other people on the roster who were more from like the Ring of Honor or, the more how wrestling evolved now, more the high flying, go from one spot to the next.
I call it dream match wrestling.
Yeah, it's like a video game. You're just going nonstop, spot after spot, and so not a lot of selling.
You plug in anybody.
Yeah.
Young Bucks versus the Hardys. Oh my God, yes.
Yeah. So it was like all over the place, and I think a lot of fans also got frustrated. Is like, okay, you saw Cody on screen, and like his segment, like whenever it was like a whole separate like promotion. And whoever he's wrestling, and then once that was done, it was back to like your regular scheduled programming with everyone else on the roster and stuff. And then when I'm also with that being said, he would like every new like signee to AEW would have to face him first, and then after they win or whatever, when that ends, then they can move on to the rest of the roster. So that's the thing. It was like, and even still, he would face different people. But ultimately, he would beat them. So, like, all these new young talent that are signed to the company that everyone's excited for, Cody would beat them. So that pissed off fans as well. So, it was a lose-lose situation all around. So, and you also think about, like, Cody was kind of like the outsider. I do respect how, he left WWE, kind of figured out who he was again in the indie scenes, redevelop his character, his personality, his wrestling gimmick. And then it really changed when he aligned himself with the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and the Bullet Club. Like, he was like, oh my God, this former WWE guy's with the Bullet Club now, this hot faction from New Japan. And he went to Ring of Honor and really reinvented himself in the character there. And so I do respect all that stuff. And I want to see more of that in AEW. So, I mean, now it's like looking ahead, though, what's next? Hypothetically speaking, if he does re-sign with WWE, I don't know what's next. But I mean, let's just talk about that real quick. Like looking ahead now, I mean, we got Elimination Chamber coming this Saturday. I don't know if that's too soon for him to get involved.
Right.
But
people gonna be looking for Cody and Brandi leaving where Atlanta somewhere this in the next few days.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
Watching
like,
every move.
Is he at airport? Where's he going right now? Where's he landing? What rental car is he in or something?
Yep,
They got to be really secretive. But then after Elimination Chamber, we're still on the road to WrestleMania. It is WrestleMania season, so if he joins soon, he can still easily set something up. That's enough time to set something up for a WrestleMania program. So who would have thought Cody Rhodes would be at WrestleMania this year if it all goes that way? I mean, and like I said,
even the night after WrestleMania, like that's still a big thing, like, and honestly, the night after WrestleMania hasn't really lived up to its name in the last few years. So, I mean, imagine that Cody Rhodes showing up on Raw after WrestleMania. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy that's even a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what's so trippy is like, okay, what's next for him? And what's his ceiling moving forward? So, I mean, like, I know a lot of people are like saying, okay, he's leaving AEW. Where can he go now? I mean, I think his only option is WWE at this point. I don't see him going back to any other promotion at this point. I'm sure for him, it's mostly for the payday. Yeah. Which I'm shocked, though, if he goes to WWE, will he have to give up everything he's been doing? Like, would he still be able to do Go Big Show on TBS?
Right.
Can he still do Roads to the Top on TNT? Unless he has the rights to it, maybe he can bring it to USA Network and it can be partner like back to back with Miz and Mrs. into Roads to the Top on USA Network. That could be the WrestleMania match right there. It'd be Miz and Maurice versus Brandy and Cody Rhodes. That writes itself. But yeah, so if he does sign with WWE, what should they do with him? I mean, I think he's a big enough star that he should be in the main event scene.
Yeah.
Also, there could be a ton of great fresh matchups for him and for everyone on the roster right now. They made so many cuts and they don't really bring up anyone from NXT that's really worked out. So a lot of people on the roster right now have been in there for a long time. And we've talked about this before. It's a little stale right now. We've seen a lot of these people wrestling each other over and over again. Like, not too long ago, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, we've seen them wrestle together so many times. How many times we've seen Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn? Like, everyone on the roster have all wrestled each other multiple times. I mean, this week on Raw, we saw Street Profits versus Ziggler and Rude.
Oh, yeah, Ziggler and Rude, yeah.
And like, how many times have we seen that on
Alpha
SmackDown?
Academy, RK Bro.
It's all kind of stale. So if Cody comes in, it could be actually like a big jolt of energy for fresh matchups. Do you think Cody deserves to be in the main event picture right away? Is he more of a mid-carder at this point? Upper mid-card? Like, what do you kind of think his ceiling is in WWE?
I would like to see him in the main event scene right away because I think he's like we said, he when he left, he reinvented himself. He came out and he made himself a star. He showed everyone like look, I can be a star, which is why I think if he signs with WWE, like things are a lot different now than they were back then. Yeah, WWE and the product might be the same. Some would say that it's even like it's worse than before. But someone like Cody probably feels like I'm available. What do you got? This is what I want. And if I'm WWE, I feel like, hey, whatever he wants. If he wants to be a main event guy, he's proven that he could do that.
Yeah, I mean, my only concern is Vince McMahon. He's in his mid-70s now.
True.
How would he treat Cody Rhodes? I think for most of us, we think Cody, as you said, he has earned and proved to people he is a main eventer. He is a draw. He puts on compelling matches. I think, he should be in the main event scene as well. I would love to see Cody Rhodes win a WWE championship at some point. I'm sure that's probably been a goal of his since he was a kid. I would love to see him in the world picture scene, maybe Universal picture scene, whatever it is. I would love to see Cody Rhodes win the title.
Yeah.
My only concern is, the politics behind it all. Do you think WWE Creative will push someone from the other's team, AEW?
Yeah.
If they sign him and push him right away, in a way that is acknowledging that AEW is equal to WWE. Or could they be a little petty and be like, okay, you came from the competition. We're not going to push you. We're going to keep you in the mid-card level to prove a point that anyone at AEW is nowhere near the star power or as successful as our roster. So that might be a way to take a jab at him and AEW. Be like, yeah, we'll bring you over. We'll sign you, but we're not going to push you because we don't want people to think a main eventer in AEW is equivalent to a main eventer in WWE. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I agree with that, but I also think that there's a possibility that, I mean, I think if you look at it, I feel like they have to, because think of all the WWE guys that have went over there and become big stars. I feel like WWE, even though like Vince, there are some people may not want to do that, I feel like you look at Cody and what he's capable of and the impact he can make on your show, whether he's on USA or Fox, the impact that he's going to have, the ratings that would bring, he's got to go straight to the top. Rhodes to the top.
No, you're right. It's like almost like creative needs to put their egos to the side and like take advantage of this guy's momentum and his star power and use it to your advantage. Does he win the world title? Maybe, but at least maybe put him in a program so you take advantage of his star power, maybe a ratings boost. Doesn't say put the title on him right away. I'm all for maybe whoever WWE champion is come after WrestleMania, whoever, I can see Cody being like the next number one contender for that, or work into a program that he becomes it. And put on an amazing match, and then maybe after that he kind of falls back down to more the upper mid-card scene. You think about it, dude, put him on SmackDown, make him Intercontinental Champion. I think he would make that belt relevant again. He was a great Intercontinental Champion back in the day. Remember, he was the one who brought back, he retired the late 90s, most of early 2000s design.
The oval one, right?
Yeah, the oval one. Yeah. He retired it and brought back the white strap, old school Intercontinental design from like the 80s and 90s. And so that would be great. Maybe he does it again. He goes through the whole process. I don't like this look. Here's a Intercontinental design that I'm a big fan of. So yeah, you could easily make him like Intercontinental Champion again, and he can be like a great champion for that.
Well, and I think Cody's promos would thrive better in WWE, just because they're very, I don't know, something about Cody's promos that are very pro wrestling, sports entertainment like. He has the ability to give you that pro wrestling old school feel, but in a sports entertainment way.
It's like a one man show when he's performing.
Yeah.
Like he's like like an actor, one man show on Broadway or something.
Like that last promo he did before Beach Break
with the ladder. Yeah. And that's the thing was pretty cool. His first match on Dynamite ever was against Sammy Guevara. He beat him. And then his last match on Dynamite was with Sammy Guevara, but he lost, put him over. So kind of cool coming full circle in that sense. But yeah, no, I agree. Like his style and delivery, it's very more sports entertainment.
That's something. And I just keep thinking like it's something that WWE needs. Like you give Cody Rhodes a microphone on Raw or SmackDown, people are going to be tuning in because they're going to want to know what he has to say. I don't know. Like it would kind of, I think Cody Rhodes to WWE, even though, he's not CM Punk, but I think it would kind of have the same effect as a CM Punk to AEW.
Yeah. Like I said, I would love to see him be WWE champion at some point. As long as they don't make him Stardust, let him be Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. But yeah, it maybe after the main event scene, put the Intercontinental Champion on, make that whole upper mid-card division amazing, and put on banger matches with people in that scene and really make it strong again. Or who knows, maybe U.S. champion at some point again.
Give him the AJ Styles run.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Yeah, put him in the same like conversation or push like AJ Styles had, or maybe similar to like Seth Rollins, because Seth Rollins he's a main eventer, he's a former world champion, but he can come and go. He can like be pushed into the main event scene and be a number one contender for a world title, or he can drop back down a little bit and have a feud with someone also in the upper mid card. So Cody can very much be like a Seth Rollins, Or even like Edge. Edge comes back and faces different people and has like these amazing matches. So he can kind of maybe have a similar role to that as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities and creative just treats him properly.
Yes.
But that can be said about a lot of people at this point. So I think it is kind of exciting to see what he could potentially do back in WWE. But now, last thing just touch on with this, just the repercussions. I'm just kind of curious, what's the fallout going to be? We know Dustin has said is going to stay. But I'm kind of curious, other guys who are affiliated with Cody, you look at like, Ethan Page, he's a Cody guy or Cody friends with Cody. Sean Spears, right? Guys who are really close with Cody, QT Marshall. I wonder if a lot of these guys are going to stick around, or
I even think like the entire like Nightmare Factory group that they have, where their futures and where what could happen with them and what's, because I read something that he's still or Meltzer had said that he was still going to do the Nightmare Factory stuff, right?
Yeah.
So
that's interesting because it's like, is that a little bit of a compromise of what's the phrase? Compromise of interest as far as, okay, if Cody goes to WWE, but he runs a wrestling school that's like one of the main sources,
like
a feeder to AEW, to the competition. Yeah. I don't know if WWE might like that. Be like, no, you're providing wrestlers for the competition. You have a wrestling school that's feeding the competition. Right. So I don't know, would he have to kind of back out from that, or hand the company over to someone else? They change the name or something, but maybe he could be a silent partner still or something.
Right, exactly.
I don't know. So so that's my thing to look out for. It's like, over the next year, a lot of contracts up for guys who were friends with Cody. Do they stick around, or do they get kind of the same treatment?
And I think this is I think this is an opportunity too for, if Cody does go back to WWE and it does go well, this could be a shift. This could be an opportunity for other people to look at WWE in a different light and be like, hey, wait a minute. Okay, Cody was able to go back. He was able to negotiate and work with them out a deal. And, it worked out.
It's not as bad after all.
Maybe it's not so bad. Maybe there is a shift or a change going on. And maybe that, I was thinking this, maybe that could be a goal of Cody's. You never know, right? Like maybe at this point he's like, you know what? On top of everything else, the money and everything else, this is another challenge and task for me. I want to change the world, right? I mean,
well, no, like if it's just me, like I said, I'm still shocked if Cody goes back to WWE, considering he was one of the guys to talk most crap about WWE when he left.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, the
even
Bullet
at
Club,
Starcast.
But the Bullet Club invasion. Remember, they invaded Raw, whatever, trying to recreate DX and Nitro. But he did a lot of promos, off air, on TV, whatever, calling out WWE or beating around the bush. Obviously, what was it, Double or Nothing, breaking the throne, with the sledgehammer, taking a shot at Triple H. He has taken a lot of shots at WWE and their talent over the years, and all of AEW has. So him to go back to the company he was making fun of, that's just really shocking to me as well. So, but like I said, what's next for, the Nightmare Factory? Does that keep going? I know Dustin also has a wrestling school in Texas.
Yeah.
Maybe they can join up together somehow. I don't know. What's the future of that? Like I said, I don't know what's the future of Cody's buddies in AEW.
I know Spears runs the flatbacks with Tyler Breeze.
Yeah. So how's that all going to change? Like I said, maybe QT will oversee Nightmare Factory more. I don't know what's going to happen long term. Like, are they going to phase out all Cody's guys, or his buddies, or maybe they'll leave? I don't know. It's going to be really interesting seeing the fallout from this decision, how the landscape's going to change even more. But I guess it's good. It gives us something to play to talk about for
absolutely
years to come, hypothetically. Yep. So, but no, at the end of the day, we love Cody Rhodes. We wish him the best. As long as he's happy, that's all that matters.
He should still tell the fans to stick in.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be an ongoing, talking piece as well. So this is, like I said, recorded on Tuesday night. News came out, a little over 12 hours ago. So we're still just processing. I'm sure more news is going to come out over the coming days and stuff, and we'll address it. I'm curious how Dynamite's going to be tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Like, do they address it at all? I mean, it's going to be fascinating. So
what's the energy in the locker room even going to be like?
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Like, if you're down to do another review after Dynamite tomorrow, we can see if there's any more fallout from it. We can acknowledge even more.
This is like their first little rift of someone leaving.
I know. I mean, they there was a couple people that let go early on.
Right. For
issues, behavioral issues, or during the speaking out movement and stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then there's a couple contracts that just expire and they just didn't renew. We know about that, but Cody's like the first big name to leave. So yeah, maybe that's the other thing. Maybe other people in AEW be like, well, Cody left and he went back to WWE. I guess it's okay to leave AEW and go to WWE if we want to. I think the thought was everyone's like leaves WWE and go to AEW. It's like, I guess it's the other way around. It's okay. So yeah. And yeah, WWE, if they're smart, use this to your advantage. Use Cody as like the poster child. Be like, see, we're not as bad after all. You can come over here from AEW. We'll take you. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens, man. So yeah, at the end of the day, we love Cody. We love Brandi Rhodes. Wish them all the best. And yeah, Cody. Yes. I still want to be on Roads to the Top. He promised I could be on the show. Whether it's on TNT or USA Network, I want to be on the show, Cody. So next time I ever do interview him, we got to make it happen. So yeah, yes. Cody, we wish you all the best. All right. The other main news story that, like I said, any other day in the week, if Cody's story didn't break, this would have been the number one topic to talk about. I was super excited for. Teased it at the beginning of the podcast tonight. My all-time favorite wrestler, Stone Cold Steve Austin, being rumored to be coming back to WWE, one more match at WrestleMania 38. I'm like,
wow, man.
My mind's like exploding. I just woke up this morning, saw everyone reacting to it. I was like, what? How? Why? So, yeah. So, a couple things here. So, yeah. Stone Cold Steve Austin is reportedly being discussed for a potential in-ring return at WrestleMania 38. So this was a new report from Fightful Select, which notes that WWE has made a significant overture towards Austin for a match at WrestleMania 38. There's no word if Austin is interested in wrestling his first match in almost 20 years. So what would be 2003 to 19 years, WrestleMania 19. But WWE is hoping he will come out of retirement for the grandest stage of them all in his home state. Word from within WWE is that at the very least, most expect Austin will have some sort of physical role at WrestleMania, but some do believe he will wrestle a match. It was reported a few months back that WWE wanted Austin to appear for some sort of role at WrestleMania in Texas, but now they want him to come out of retirement. And so yeah, there's a more in-depth article, but this is from Wrestling Inc. I'm getting this from. And then, yeah, Brian Alvarez, tweeted out, which one is it? Yes, Steve Austin for Kevin Owens versus Kevin Owens has been discussed for WrestleMania. So that looks like the teasing what the opponent's going to be. And I saw this on Wrestling Inc. that the headline here says Steve Austin had new wrestling ring built at his ranch last August. So with all the reports of him possibly coming back and everyone reacting to social media, but it looked like Stone Cold had a ring built at his Broken Skull Ranch in Nevada last August. Let's see. As seen in the tweet below, High Spots visited Austin's ranch and constructed a new wrestling ring. While it's not known if Austin had a ring at his original ranch in Tilden, Texas, he did take a few bumps on Straight Up Steve Austin a few years ago. Austin moved from Texas to Nevada in 2018. So with that report, a lot of people are speculating, oh my God, but keep in mind, so other articles are saying it looks like talks between Stone Cold and WWE started, I believe in December, end of December, and they're starting to pick up again. So I think it might be a coincidence that the ring was put in last August, and that was way before talks with WWE started. So I think it's more of a coincidence. But then again, he did a premiere appear in the promos for WrestleMania when they did announce Texas last year. So maybe talks were happening way back when we just didn't know it. Mm-hmm. So maybe there is a connection to that ring being built. Brian, yes, I'll turn to you. Thoughts on Stone Cold coming back for potentially one more match at WrestleMania 38?
I love it. I'm all for it. I was reading. I didn't interact very much because I just wanted to read everyone's thoughts and comments last night and all, or the beginning portion of today before the Cody news broke. Listen, I know a lot of people are skeptical about Austin, wrestling again for the first time in 19 years, and he's up there in age. But I mean, and I know I don't want to be that guy that compares and say, oh, well, look at Sting or look at this or look at that. But I'm going to do it. look at Sting, right? But see, Stone Cold is a completely different wrestler than Sting or a Goldberg or even an Undertaker. Yeah. I believe you give Stone Cold a few, however much time he needs to take bumps and hit the ropes and all of that, he can put together a little match and be able to give us that Stone Cold performance, because that's all we really need. We don't need him to come have a match like Bret Hart and Vince McMahon. Like, he doesn't need to give us that. But just a quick little match, take a bump here and there, but give us that old Stone Cold. I want to see it. I want to see it. It's been teased. Like, we've seen him, like, he was at WrestleMania, 30?
Last time it was in Texas, 32.
32, he was there, giving stunners out. Like, why not?
It's like I said, I am biased here because Stone Cold Steve Austin is my all-time favorite wrestler. And I'm sure I'm going to sound like a hypocrite in saying, yes, I want him, but with other wrestlers, everyone in the other wrestlers, like part-timers or legends that come back, people complain, be like, oh, that guy's coming back and he's taking up the spot of someone currently on the roster who wrestles there every day throughout the year, taking a spot from them that they deserve to be at WrestleMania on that card versus giving up to some legend who's a part-timer, shows up once in a while. Like, that's not fair. In this situation, though, I don't care. I want Stone Cold Steve Austin to wrestle. He was taken away, with the neck injury and his knee injury as well. Like, he had to retire, young, kind of still in his prime. And so, he did go out in a great way. Obviously put over The Rock, WrestleMania 19, great match, one of the greatest ever. What a special moment that was. But his career was taken away from him young. So it'd be cool to see him get one more run, one more just opportunity to please the fans. God, there's so much to just think about here as far as, yes. Okay. Now the rumor is, maybe wrestle against Kevin Owens, and there is a little bit of a story developing there. As we saw on Raw this week, Kevin Owens cut a backstage promo just calling out the state of Texas because he got mad that WWE put a tweet out like this. Do you believe Kevin Owens said he loves Texas? And he says, no, I hate Texas. And he started going off just saying how bad Texas is. So is this the beginning, the foundation for a feud for Stone Cold, who is from Texas? WrestleMania's in Dallas, Texas this year. Stone Cold coming out defending the honor of his home state of Texas and taking out Kevin Owens, who's also been using the stunner as well. So it kind of writes itself naturally. So that is the story that looks like they're potentially doing here. But it makes you wonder the fact that Kevin, if nothing's been finalized yet, but the fact that Kevin Owens is going ahead with this storyline, it makes you kind of wonder, maybe WWE officials feel pretty good that he's going to agree to do this. They're already teasing it on TV already. So,
and I believe that's a great thing for Kevin Owens. Like, who knows? I'm pretty sure Kevin Owens wouldn't scoff at the fact that he has to wrestle Austin on a WrestleMania card. People underestimate his roles at WrestleMania. I mean, who did he's wrestled Jericho now, right? At a Mania. Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins. Did you do Shane?
No, was that was Hell in the Cell? No, that was Undertaker and Shane.
Okay, that was Undertaker and Shane. My bad. But
I'm trying to remember.
Which he's had a pretty good. It's not obviously not the best, and I'm obviously not where he's probably wanted it to be. But I mean, come on, wrestling
high profile.
Very high profile and very underrated in my opinion. I think because he's not in the title picture or not going in there as champion, or I really think where it started it was when he lost to Goldberg prior to WrestleMania. I think that's where people was like, but I think he's had a pretty good WrestleMania like moments and matches and stuff. And this one would be a moment, I mean, it would be great. I feel like it's a great spot. It makes sense. He does the stunner. I don't have a bad thing to say about that.
Me neither. My only concern though is, I mean, you would think Stone Cold would do this for the payday. It would be a huge payday. WWE can afford it. I would think Stone Cold's pretty financially okay, but I'm sure more money helps. So if he can make a good payday here, that can really set him up long term. I mean, he is 57 years old. I think that if there was a time or a cutoff to do one more match, this is it right here. If you wait any longer and hit like your 60s, then you're really kind of pushing. I know Sting's in his 60s right now. He's doing some good things in AEW, but the younger guys that he works with help him stand out, make him look good. He's not put in any vulnerable situations that make him look bad. So AEW's been handling Sting very well. With that being said, I hope they can do something similar with Stone Cold. I'm just concerned though, is he healed though? Like, I know he retired 19 years ago. He had the neck injury, the knee issues. What are the state is his body's in? I'm sure he's probably had follow-up surgeries and procedures to work on that stuff. But I just want to know, like, health-wise, is he okay to take bumps again? That's my only concern. I don't want him wrestling if he could potentially hurt himself really bad long-term, especially as he enters this latter part of his life. That's my only concern and why I'm hesitant. My other concern is he did leave on a high note. He very much had like the Seinfeld goodbye. Seinfeld, the TV show, left when they were still the number one show on television. At the top of their game, people were still demanding it. So they went out on top. Stone Cold went out on top. Sure, he lost The Rock, but I mean, he still was the most popular guy in the company in all of pro wrestling. Yep. He still left on a high note. You look on the other hand, like a couple years ago, Shawn Michaels, who we thought was never going to wrestle again, came back for one more match with Triple H, DX reunion, taking on Undertaker and Kane over at Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. God. One more match. It was a terrible match. It was sloppy. People getting hurt, and it was all over the place. It was very bad. They all admitted it was a bad match. We've seen Undertaker talk about it. Shawn Michaels said like he shouldn't have done it. But
I think Sean was like the best one out of everybody.
But he
in that
saved
match.
it. He was the one that was, especially when Triple H was out hurt. Toward his, was it pec?
When Kane's mask fell off,
the hair. I mean, but Sean carried that match. He made everyone look good. Still, to give him credit for not wrestling for so long, he still outperformed everyone. But with that being said, though, I mean, sure, Sean had a nice payday, so I'm sure his bank account is still fine from it. But as far as the legacy, though, little tarnished, a little bit, as far as, he wrestled and, I think everyone wants that one last impression of him and Undertaker as his final match ever.
Yeah.
But no, it's not, technically Crown Jewel was his final match. And so kind of puts a little asterisk to his career. That's my only concern with Stone Cold Steve Austin. If he does come back for one more match at WrestleMania, would that kind of, affect people's lasting impression of him and his legacy? That's my only concern. So, I mean, listen, I'm sure, they need him to help sell ticket sales, because I know they've been doing like 2-for-1 deals for tickets. They got to sell 2 nights in Texas. So I'm sure for them, they're like, well, if we can get Stone Cold, that can help sell some tickets and put them towards maybe the end of the show, maybe night 1 or night 2. And, it could be an amazing match. So, And like, if it's not a match, at least something physical. Yeah, maybe he confronts Kevin Owens and just at least stuns him. So, but even if he does a match, I wonder, does he still do just like the black trunks and black boots and knee brace, or does he do like maybe a little bit of a different outfit? I don't know. He still looks great. If you look at him on his Broken Skull sessions and other appearances, he's still very much in shape. So I wonder if could he go like a full Stone Cold attire, the leather vest. I mean, God, to be there in person and hear, the glass shatter again, his music pop or go off again, the crowd popping for him. It would be an amazing moment. It's tough, man. Like, as a Stone Cold fan, I would love to see him do one more match. So if these reports are true, they work at a deal, I'll be excited for it.
Definitely.
Oh, man. So, I mean, we can go on and talking about it, but, for right now, we'll leave it as is and see what happens if anything changes over the coming weeks. So, So if Stone Cold Steve Austin does come back for one more, so we'll discuss it if it's official or not. So, all right. So let's move on over. Last thing, let's just touch on our predictions for Elimination Chamber. It's this Saturday on Peacock, the premium live event, not pay-per-view, premium live event. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go through the matches real quick for the show, give our predictions, but then also we'll use it as a way to loosely just kind of give our thoughts on the most recent episodes of SmackDown and Raw, in regards to the go-home shows for those shows. Actually, there's one more episode of SmackDown this week, but that was actually pre-taped last week. So, okay. So, let's see here. We have the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match. All the competitors in there. We have, Bobby Lashley, current WWE champion, Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins, Riddle, AJ Styles, and Austin Theory here. Brian, for me personally, I want to see Bobby Lashley retain because I would hate to see him lose and only have a 3-week title reign.
Yep.
Like I said, my heart wants Bobby Lashley to win, but my gut is telling me it's Brock Lesnar winning. How about you? What are you thinking about this?
I feel the same way. It's like, and even in these 3 weeks, what Lashley's even been able to do, like, he just looks strong as a champion. Like, it doesn't matter what segment you put him in, who's in the ring with him, what's happening, whether he's wrestling or not. He looks so good. But yeah, something's telling me that it's going to be Brock.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Brock winning, and then we get champion versus champion, winner take all at WrestleMania against Roman Reigns. But yeah, on Raw this week, I did laugh. The opening segment, Bobby Lashley, MVP come out. But MVP did his own version of Steiner math, saying, everyone in there has a 16% chance of winning. But Bobby Lashley, he has a 100% chance of winning. And, it was going off. I laughed at that.
Yeah.
And then, everyone else starts coming out. They all confront each other. Brock Lesnar came out with the cowboy hat, put the hat. Then he put his hat on Austin Theory. I did laugh at that.
Oh, my goodness.
But then Brock Lesnar started suplexing Austin Theory, and he was taking him like a champ. But I laughed so hard when Riddle jumped out of the ring. I mean, first off, he came out in a toga, which was leading up to, like, he had a Broga? Is that what they said?
RK Broga party.
RK Broga party. Which, why? Why was there a random toga party that night?
No clue.
What was the occasion? Randy Orton didn't even show up. He was in a separate room. He didn't want to go there, which I wonder, would that lead to maybe a little bit tension between the former tag team champions? But Austin Theory took the suplex, but the way Riddle jumped out, he was like, you're not gonna get me, bye. He like jumped over the ropes. It was just so funny the way his body language. I laughed so hard. So it was just great seeing Brock just destroy everyone. He didn't touch Bobby. Bobby got out of there. So Brock did look strong here. So normally the person who looks strong on a go home episode for a pay-per-view, it's not a good sign that they're not going to win at the actual show pay-per-view. But this is Brock Lesnar. He's a different, beast, no pun intended. So we did see also, Damian Priest, U.S. champion, have a match with AJ Styles. It was a rematch from the week before, which AJ won. This week, it was a short match. Damian Priest won with just a roll-up. I don't know about you, man. I just kind of was taken back, like, AJ losing before pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And it was a short match here. So I didn't really kind of like that booking. And why is AJ in a program with Damian Priest when he should be focusing on the WWE Championship? I know he said he wants to be a double champion like Riddle and stuff like that. But I don't know. Any thoughts about just that matchup between the two of them?
Yeah, it was strange that he was in that program with Damian Priest. I was certain that he was going to beat Damian Priest because of his involvement in the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match. But when he lost, I was like, oh, okay. Like, I wasn't mad because I felt like Priest needed a win desperately, which is another one of those situations where you got to think, okay, creative, they kind of booked themselves into this corner here because, like, neither one of these guys should lose, right? Like, Styles should be winning and Damian Priest should be winning. But yeah, the roll up was weird. It was really quick. I hope this is over. Like, you know.
Yeah, I think Damian Priest. I think considering Austin Theory and where's he been going, I think Austin Theory would be the perfect person to take the U.S. title off Damian Priest.
Yes.
And then that way, Austin Theory be like, look, Mr. McMahon, I'm a champion. I'm a U.S. champion. So it kind of plays into his character storyline right now. Like, he accomplished something. So I think that's where it could be.
I would love to see him and Priest go back and forth for a few months. You know, like maybe 2 months, have them go back and forth, sort of Taker Orton style. I mean, Priest is no Taker by any means, and Austin Theory has a long way to go before he can prove that he is just as great in the ring as Orton was, especially at that time. We'd say young Orton, he was so good. But I don't know. I want stories out of these, you know, championship matches and feuds and things like that. I just want something good going on, especially with the younger guys like Priest or I say younger, but you know, obviously Priest, the newer guy,
roster. Newer to the roster,
and someone young like Austin Theory, and a young up and comer guy who's got the, you know, the boss's eyes on him. Hey, go out there and make an impact. Maybe night after WrestleMania, go attack Priest.
And in the main event, we saw Seth freaking Rollins take on Randy Orton. Great match. I mean, come on, they're two legends in WWE. Awesome. Seth Rollins did pick up the victory because Randy Orton got distracted, went out the ring when Alpha Academy started attacking Riddle, and Randy went to go save his partner. When he came back in the ring, Seth capitalized with the curb stomp, picked up the victory. Great for Seth, still looking strong here. Randy Orton, took the loss, but by distraction stuff. So Alpha Academy, Randy Orton and Riddle, RK Bro, I think they announced they're going to have a match for the tag titles coming up soon. I think it was next week or the week after, but it's coming up.
I think it said 2 weeks.
Okay. Going back earlier night to the RK Broga. It's hard. I gotta remember how to say it. Riddle, having a toga party, which I don't think they ever explained why he's having a toga party, but just a reason, I guess, to party and celebrate. Ultimately, though, he's playing guitar later in the night. Alpha Academy came in, attacked him, started beating him up. So it's just adding more to the rivalry between Alpha Academy and RK Bro. So, which is cool. That looks like that's what's going to happen next. So that's also kind of why I don't see Riddle winning here. I know he said he wanted to be a double champion, tag champion, and WWE champion, but it looks like his main storyline is still with Alpha Academy. So not to look ahead past Elimination Chamber, but I think that's what's going on. Therefore, you can kind of write him off winning here. Like I said, Austin Theory got his ass beat by Brock Lesnar. He's not going to win. Seth Rollins still looking strong here. I mean, there are still some people who think, maybe it could be a triple threat at WrestleMania. Brock, Roman, and Seth Rollins. And it could be a triple threat again, like it was at WrestleMania 31. So Seth can say, listen, I beat both of you guys at WrestleMania 31. So let me do it. Let me be part of this again. And he can also be cocky, be like, Roman, you didn't beat me. You choked me out, and you got disqualified. You didn't beat me clean. So
exactly.
So there's some ways. I mean, it could be nice to have Seth Rollins in there, kind of keep things fresh. But then again, I'm not the biggest fan of triple threats. I like one-on-one. At the end of the day, it's competition between two people. So, also on the card, we have Universal Champion Roman Reigns defending the title against Goldberg. Not much to say here. I think Roman Reigns is going to win because eye of the prize. Brock versus Roman at WrestleMania. That's what we want. Goldberg, I think this is his last match on his contract, so it's a match we've been waiting for 2 years.
Yep.
Just let him do it. One and done. Move on.
Yep.
You know, Roman cut the promo or the backstage interview with Michael Cole on SmackDown last week and said he's going to Goldberg.
I hope so.
Goldberg had a separate interview with Cole and said, you know, he wants the title. He's confident. But no, it's not winning here. Brian, anything else? Who are you predicting or thinking?
No, I 100% believe that Roman Reigns is going to win this match. I just hope it has to be really quick.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a good match for Roman to kind of make a statement too. Like, time's up, buddy. Like, you know, it's over. Like, I'm on a whole nother level than I was even 2 years ago.
And that's the thing. It's like, I think Roman, I forgot who pointed it out, but technically he's been beating every former Universal Champion. So, and Goldberg is a former Universal Champion. It's like the last person he needs to defeat. I know it was a Bray Wyatt. Oh, there's that Louis Dangor tweeted it out.
I seen that.
And Bray Wyatt got pissed, said, take my name off that list. Because I guess technically he didn't lose, but it was a triple threat match with Braun Strowman. When Roman did win the Universal title, Braun ate the pin that night. Bray didn't, but technically Bray lost the title, so I guess that's why technically it's a loss. So yeah, that was pretty funny seeing that. Next up for the Raw Women's Championship, Becky Lynch defending against Leda. They had the contract signing this week on Raw. Becky, great performance, like all disheveled, and she was upset that her idol beat her up last week, and she's like, you know, this is your last chance. You don't have to do this match. And Leda's like, no, I want one more title run in me. Like, I want to win this title and I'm not going to back down. So, and Leda's like, you know, be careful what you ask for. And so they both end up signing. So I don't know what you think of the contract signing this week.
The contract signing was a tad bit bizarre. I'll say this. I think Becky Lynch, they're trying so hard to get people to boo her.
Yeah.
And it's not working out as much. And here's why I think, just real quick, I want to touch on this. Mm-hmm. I feel like people, it's hard to boo someone like Becky, who is tough, who's respected, I feel like, and who has earned the respect from us as fans, WWE Universe, whatever. And, you know, she has this life outside of wrestling with Seth Rollins, and she's a new mom. And what's the boo about that? Like we love that. And I feel like that's kind of where the direction of wrestling is now. Like when fans have a personal connection with a wrestler, and we know their lives and we know everything about them, and we know that they're ultimately a great person outside of wrestling. That's why people hate Charlotte so much, because she doesn't have really the great reputation outside of wrestling. And I think it's partly because Charlotte lives the character, right? I mean, she is Charlotte Flair at the end of the day.
And you know, listen, it's a very cutthroat business. It's very political behind the scenes.
Oh yeah.
You're fighting to get a spot or to advance your career. And once you get to like the top, you want to keep that spot. So not only go out there and perform and keep people engaged with you and liking you as a performer, but, you know, making sure creative and the bookers still treat you properly. Like I said, I can only imagine what's it like in a locker room for wrestling. And so for Charlotte, I'm sure she's very protective of her own career.
Absolutely.
Selfish or not, but yeah, as you should be. Like anyone in a position, you want to be successful at your job. You're going to fight for it.
Especially with the adversity I'm sure she had to deal with and still deals with to this day, which people don't really mention very much. But back to Becky, I feel like, Leda may not have been the one to, or maybe she is, or maybe it's just not enough time there to get Becky just over that hump that much. I'm aside from that though, I'm curious to see if this is going to be a good match. Like, how long is this going to be?
Yeah, I mean, I think Becky's winning.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Come on, Becky Lynch at WrestleMania as a champion. I mean, I still think Bianca Belair should be the one to beat her.
I do too,
which is kind of foreshadowing my other pick for the other match. But for Leda, it's just star power. And, you know, another legend, and rightfully so. I want to see WWE use more of the female legends, in programs. They use all the part-timers for the men's division.
Yeah.
Do that for the women's division.
Yeah.
And, for Leda, I would like to see her maybe wrestle a few more. Maybe wrestle, once or twice a year or something. I think she could be very valuable, and they could do that for everyone. Like we talked about, Michelle McCool looked great at the Royal Rumble. I mean, there's people that wrestled maybe within the last 10 years that can be brought back for here and there and can help put over the younger talent.
Yep.
So no, but I'm with you. I think Becky definitely wins here. So I will agree on that.
For sure.
Next up, we saw it's going to be Ronda Rousey and Naomi taking on SmackDown Women's Champion, the Queen, Charlotte Flair, and Sonya Deville. So this is a little bit of a spoiler. So on SmackDown this coming Friday, it was, like I said earlier, it was taped last week. So it was the official contract signing there. Had a big brawl between everyone to make it official. But on the SmackDown this past week, amazing main event between Naomi and Charlotte Flair. I mean, Naomi held her own. Amazing performance as far as the underdog goes. The crowd was eating it up. I mean, they had a lot of false finishes, and they wrestled for a long time. I think they gave them, at least 30 minutes at least towards the end of the show. So got a lot of time to wrestle. Both pulled out all the stops, just looking amazing. Their athleticism. Ultimately, Charlotte did get the win. But then Sonya Deville came out and started attacking Naomi. But yeah, the crowd was eating up that match as well. They were so into it. Like, we're going to have an upset here. Was Naomi actually going to win the title? It didn't happen. But anyway, the crowd loved it, which is, tough to do in today's wrestling world, to get the crowd at the palm of your hand reacting.
Very rare you see them standing up.
Yeah. It was New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, Naomi loses. Sonya Deville comes out, getting in her face, starts beating her up. Charlotte jumps in as well. Ronda Rousey comes out, makes the save. Was going to put Sonya in the arm bar on her other arm. She had the sling in her, the one that Ronda took out last week. Shout out to Sonya Deville. She was doing some press Super Bowl down in LA last week, and the party that she was at, she had her arm in a sling, so keeping kayfabe alive. Shout out to respect for Sonya Deville.
Yes.
So then Charlotte made the save on Sonya, got out of the ring before Ronda could put her in the arm bar on the other arm. So, and then Ronda helped out Naomi. So it's kind of setting up the match between all four of them. This match, though, we know it's Charlotte versus Ronda at WrestleMania. Part of me thinks, sorry, Brian, I think Ronda might win at WrestleMania. We'll see how they go, though, how they tell that story. But here, I don't think Charlotte or Ronda are. I will say this. I think I can see either one. I think Sonya is going to eat the pin. Now, I could see Naomi be the one to pin her. Therefore, sets up their match at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're thinking.
Yeah, I could kind of see that. I think it's a possibility even for Ronda to get the pin victory over Sonya here. Maybe set something up in the future even too, like after, because I mean Sonya is an official. I'm sure she'll still be an official. Heading into Mania, leaving Mania. I don't know. That's probably looking too forward, but I think it can go either way. Naomi, because I mean Naomi already has a pinfall victory over Sonya from SmackDown, a few weeks ago. So,
okay, I forgot about that. So maybe Sonya can be the one to pin Naomi.
That's also a possibility too.
What I'm getting at, I think Sonya and Naomi are going to be involved in the finish because we already know Ronda and Charlotte are going to wrestle each other at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
but I think to really set to really set up the end of this storyline between Naomi and Sonya, I think the two of them are going to be involved in the finish here to set them up for WrestleMania, because it's been an ongoing story for months. I think a lot of people are a little burnt out from it, but I think we're going to get the big finish at WrestleMania. So to kind of kickstart this last chapter,
I think it's good that for one, the women But 2, there's no title involved. Like that's great. It's very rare that I think in any promotion that we get a compelling storyline from the women and it's on a weekly basis and it doesn't involve a championship. I will admit there's some things about it that's like, okay, well, this is getting kind of boring. But when you involve Charlotte and Rhonda, like that's next level to me. Like that's a big deal.
Actually, okay. This is what I'm thinking. I think Charlotte and Sonya are going to win here. Heels win here. Naomi's going to eat the pin from Sonya. Like you said, Sonya already lost to Naomi on SmackDown within the last month. So Sonya's going to get a victory over here, and then the rubber match will be at WrestleMania, which Naomi will get the big win on the big stage. And it was cool. This week on SmackDown, Adam Pearce came out and confronted Sonya and said, hey, Vince McMahon doesn't like you abusing your power. So now moving forward, you can't put your hands on anyone, even with the jacket on. So it was funny. Naomi came out and beat her up with the jacket.
Maybe their match turns into at WrestleMania. If Sonya loses, she has to step down as an authority figure.
That could be it too. So maybe, oh man, I'm just thinking how you get there though. Like,
I think what you said is perfect. Have Sonya pick up the victory over Naomi at Elimination Chamber, and then the following week on SmackDown or however you want to set it up, have Naomi ask for that rematch one last time. Maybe go back to where Naomi is not necessarily begging, but almost forcing another match at WrestleMania. And I know you got to do something creative at that point to make Sonya even want to say yes or agree to something like that, because okay, well, I already beat you. So
but I'm just thinking here, because I know, over in Saudi Arabia, they try to have to do like a lot of the feel good stories. I almost wonder if Naomi pins Sonya. Sonya's so pissed off, she wants one more match with Naomi at WrestleMania. Naomi's like, no, I don't want it. And she's like, I'll put my authority figure title on the line. I'm that desperate. I want a match with you. No, I'm that's one idea, but I
could work though.
Yeah, I think the heels win here, though. I think Charlotte and Sonya wins. I think Sonya gets the pin on Naomi. Oh man,
it's tough.
It's a tough one.
I actually like that better. Naomi beating Sonya, and then Sonya being like I have to beat her. Like she becomes obsessed almost at that point, where she's willing to do anything and to get her hands on Naomi,
her job title on the line. And then she loses WrestleMania, and then she just comes back as a regular wrestler again on the roster. It was kind of tough.
And then you split them. You put since Sonya's not. I don't know if she's brand exclusive or anything like that, but at that point, if she becomes a regular competitor, you split them. So now Naomi be on SmackDown, and Sonya could be over on the Raw brand.
Yeah,
as a competitor, so that way they don't run into each other again. Because nobody wants to see that rematch over and over and over and over.
Yeah, I mean especially if Vince McMahon, which is funny. Vince McMahon was the one who said he doesn't like seeing people abuse their power. Right, coming from Vince McMahon. Let's get Stone Cold on the phone, talk about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he denied Sonya trying to give that fine to Ronda Rousey, and then order her not to touch Naomi. So, all right. So then we have the women's Elimination Chamber match. The winner earns becomes new number one contender for the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania. So you got Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Doudrop, Nikki ASH, and it was a mystery opponent or mystery contender. It was revealed as Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss had her final therapy on Raw this week, and she's been evolving the last few weeks. Like she's kind of dressing back to normal again. The doctor gave her a new Lily doll and said, she's like, I don't need this. And he's like, I took the remnants of the old Lily doll and put it inside this one. I was like, isn't that like Chucky? Was that how like Chucky got reincarnated? Because remember, I think Chucky got burnt up, and then his remnants went into the toy factory, and it got remade into a new Chucky doll. That's how I kind of thought. It was like Child's Play here.
Yeah,
Child's Play sequel. So she took the doll, or did she take? Yeah, she took the doll on Raw this week. And then they're like, oh yeah, by the way, I'll be the sixth person in the Elimination Chamber. So it's official. Alexa Bliss is in the match now. I was kind of hoping it was going to be Asuka, like a big surprise, but
yeah,
no, it's Alexa Bliss. This week they had, though, a gauntlet match on Raw to determine who's going to be the last superstar to enter the Elimination Chamber match. Dude, phenomenal. I think it was like the whole second hour was pretty much devoted to this match.
Over 40 minutes, I believe.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
So Rhea Ripley, Nikki ASH start off the match. They have a rivalry been going for a while now. Rhea Ripley did beat her pretty easily in a short period of time, so I don't know if that story's done with. Rhea Ripley then defeated Liv Morgan, who came out. Rhea Ripley then defeated Dewdrop. Her theme song, Dewdrop.
Yeah.
Like, it's stuck in my head now. And then after Dewdrop got eliminated, then Bianca Belair came out versus Rhea Ripley. Dude, phenomenal for multiple things. Rhea Ripley was the Iron Woman of this match, lasting for as long as she did, just beating everyone up. And then Bianca Belair comes in. She's already tired, beat up, but she's still just like the fighter. Her and Bianca had an amazing match here. I don't know what you kind of think of the gauntlet, though, how it played out here.
I loved it. It really shows you, like, wow, okay, Rhea Ripley can still go. Mm-hmm. You give her the opportunity, she can still do it. And I think her going that long and then obviously, coming up short against Bianca, it makes sense. Rhea was in there. Well, she beat like what, three other girls, right? Yeah. So
and she was like what, over 40 minutes total?
Yeah, that's a long time. So yeah, I think the right person won.
Bianca Belair won here, yeah.
Which I'll say this: you said it earlier. Usually, when someone is put in a position to win before the big pay-per-view, it doesn't really look good. It's kind of like almost letting us know, like, yeah, she's not gonna win at Elimination Chamber, so we'll give her this win right here.
Yeah, my heart still wants Bianca Belair to win at Elimination Chamber. So she's going to enter last in the match. Mm-hmm. So it kind of gives her good odds there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I do want to see Bianca Belair win. I want to see her challenge Becky at WrestleMania, get her win back, get the title back so it makes up for her loss at SummerSlam, that quick loss, come full circle. I think, Rhea Ripley, she put on an amazing performance, just gutted it out. Mm-hmm. I mean, part of me does kind of see maybe that's kind of foreshadowing that Rhea Ripley's going to win, but I don't know if, like, as people will be as compelled to watch Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch when Bianca is the more compelling story. They do have history now over the last 6 months.
Yeah.
For me, I'm kind of thinking what this Gauntlet match did was, I think, to help reset Rhea Ripley's character. She kind of fell to the sideline, doing the tag team stuff with Nikki ASH, tag title scene. She just kind of was forgotten about a little bit. I think this is a way to reintroduce her to, hey, she's a badass. She can go in the ring. She can beat up everyone. She's amazing. And I think, if anything, this match, the last match between Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley, could set up Bianca Belair's first opponent as the new Raw Women's Champion.
Yep.
It builds Rhea Ripley up as the first credible new number one contender for Bianca Belair down the road. Mm-hmm. It was announced tonight on NXT that WrestleMania Backlash is going to happen in May. So I imagine if our prediction's right, I think Bianca's going to win Elimination Chamber, challenge Becky WrestleMania. Bianca wins the Raw wins the Raw Women's Championship. And then maybe they have a rematch at WrestleMania Backlash. And then after that, come June, I could see maybe Rhea versus Bianca there. Mm-hmm. I don't know. What you guys think? Yeah.
Yeah. It makes sense. Almost too much sense, to the point where it's like, maybe it won't happen.
It's easy. It writes itself. You got the next 3 months planned out. Like,
it's
there.
Easy. It's so easy. And I'm wondering, because I'm still thinking of, Raw after Mania, maybe Asuka comes back.
Yeah.
Bailey somewhere in that mix, whether it's Raw or, I believe she was on SmackDown. So, maybe she's in the mix or something. I don't know. But yeah, I think Rhea Ripley has earned a spot, and I think it's fresh, something different. You know, we've seen. I mean, I know that Bailey and Bianca have unfinished business. They never got to that. What was it? What was the match they were going to have? It was I Quit. They never got to that I Quit match.
Oh, that's when she got hurt. Yeah.
So I would like to see that revisited too. But yeah, I think I'm with you. I think Bianca should win, go on to main event WrestleMania with Becky, and kind of start all over, top of the calendar wrestling year. Bianca's your new champ. She goes in front of fans. It's like a whole reset, you know, and get to see what she can do. We all know what she can do, you know, but now I think, but then it's just like this, what happens with Becky? Like, does Becky leave? Like, does she, where does she go? Where does she fit in, you know, in the picture, you know?
That is true.
That's another thing.
I mean, I could see Becky maybe taking a little time off, because remember, she did come back early for SummerSlam. I think the original plan was October, but she came out a couple months early just to help with that show. So she can be like, okay, listen, I helped you guys out, came back early from maternity leave. Give me a few times. And that's good. Keep her off TV for a bit. Have people miss her. If Bianca Belair is champion, Rhea Ripley can be like her first big opponent. Maybe Asuka, Bailey, even Alexa Bliss. So Alexa Bliss, I guess the whole Fiend takeover of her body and soul is gone, so she's back to normal now. So she could be opponent as well. You don't count out Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan, had the thing with Becky Lynch at the end of last year, so maybe she could still kind of maybe reinsert herself in the main event scene. So it could be a lot of fresh matchups for Bianca Belair as Raw Women's Champion with the Raw roster, women's roster. So I think that they'd be in good shape going through summer and lead up to SummerSlam at some point. So, it'd be interesting. All right, we'll bust through the last of these pretty quickly here. So we see the Usos defending SmackDown Tag Team Championship against Viking Raiders. Usos winning, right?
Absolutely.
Keep the bloodline fully in power with all the titles. And it
would be neat if Viking Raiders won, but
it would be shocking.
As long as Roman's Universal Champ. They're not losing the titles.
There's still too much merch with all of them.
Yes.
And then plus, we saw Usos take out Viking Raiders on SmackDown this week. So it's like, it's just a good one-off here. I mean, I'm kind of curious.
It'd be cool to see a new rivalry. Like, you kind of had the Usos and New Day. It'd be cool to see, maybe start something up here with Viking Raiders and or at least get the Viking Raiders in the mix as somebody who can go with someone like the Usos, and then maybe
Los Lotharios.
I love them.
I love
them. I love them.
Here's my thing. I know a lot of people were bummed because Los Lotharios took on Big E and Kofi. They weren't called the New Day. They were just called by their name. So like Vince is like doesn't want to call them the New Day, I guess, because until Xavier comes back or whatever. But a lot of people were bummed. It was a short match. Big E lost, got pinned by Los Lotharios, and it's like, wow, you're former WWE champion. You move him over to SmackDown, you put him back in a tag team. He's like losing all his momentum, credibility as a main eventer. He's just back to like a mid-card person or a tag team person.
Yeah.
I understand everyone's frustrations. I think a lot of people are seeing the writing on the wall. It's like, okay, is he losing his main event push? A lot of fans of Big E are upset. I'm upset too. I love Big E. I like seeing him in the main event scene and want to see him be WWE champion again.
Right.
The reason I'm not panicking here is I saw that match as an opportunity to establish a new tag team. You got the New Day, how many time tag team champions?
Yep.
They help put over a new, younger tag team. So that way it adds more depth to the tag team division.
That's how I saw it too.
Okay, I didn't overreact, so I'm glad you and I are on the same page on that.
Absolutely.
So, now, granted, I hope they keep booking Big E strong, and this is just a temporary thing, and maybe one day he can get back into the main event scene. So we'll see how that goes. Drew McIntyre taking on Madcap Moss. Falls Count Anywhere match. I'm so bummed. Drew McIntyre deserves better than this. I imagine Drew McIntyre is going to win. He should win. My only concern is this is going to lead to a match for Drew versus Happy Corbin at WrestleMania. That's why I'm so bummed. I feel like this is his destination. Like, I do not want to see Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania taking on Happy Corbin. I mean, Drew McIntyre should win here. Yes. But then again, I could see Madcap getting the victory by Happy Corbin interfering. Mm-hmm. Drew McIntyre gets pissed off, challenges Happy Corbin to WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, my gut is like, just pick Drew McIntyre. It's a safe bet. But I could see this is how it's going to set up the two of them at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's boy, you want to sell tickets. I don't know about that one. I mean, Drew again is another guy who, you know, I feel like once this reset happens, he'll be right back in the main event picture, hopefully. Mm-hmm. But you know, it's another one of those rivalries that are going just maybe a tad bit too longer than what it needed to be. You know, but you're right. I mean, Madcap loses. I mean, where does this leave Happy Corbin, right? I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, he wants to get to Happy Corbin, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That could be okay. Yeah. No, Drew McIntyre wins. He then goes on SmackDown and says, "Happy, I defeated your boy twice now at Day One and Elimination Chamber. I want you now." They're probably gonna set WrestleMania. It's like, no, Drew deserves better than that, but I think that's what's going to happen. Yep. All right, Rey Mysterio taking on The Miz here. This has kind of been brewing. Miz has been poking the bear, the Mysterio family, taking shots, saying, "Dominic, you're really tall compared to your dad. You're way taller than your dad. Are we sure Eddie's not really your father?" So taking a shot, you know, Eddie Guerrero, which today, you know, we're recording on Tuesday. Today's the 18th anniversary when Eddie Guerrero won the WWE Championship over Brock Lesnar at No Way Out. At the Cow Palace.
Cow Palace, that's right.
Where were you at back then?
I was there.
What? You were there?
Yeah.
Oh, man, you're lucky. Oh, I'm jealous.
I was there.
So, and then Alpha Academy took on Ray and Dominic on Raw this week. Miz and Maurice were on commentary, getting involved. Alpha Academy picks up the win, you know, with the Miz interference and stuff. So it is setting up Ray versus the Miz. Ray should just win here.
Yes.
Ray should just win. That's it. Yep. I mean, it's just a Miz. Come on.
Yeah. And I think, too, like, you know, Ray being the cover star of the new WWE 2K22 game.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
He's got to win.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, thank you. That totally sums it up. Yeah, because Miz is also mad at Ray because he's on the cover and he's not. And Miz feels like he deserves to be. So, yeah, it writes itself. So, yeah, Ray's going to win. Therefore, solidify. Hopefully some more people buying the cover for a winner. There you go. Perfect.
Exactly.
And then one last thing on Raw this week I just want to touch on, though. So that wraps up our predictions for Elimination Chamber this Saturday. Reggie wins the 24/7 championship after him and Dana Brooke were out to dinner, Valentine's Day dinner, which, by the way, I love the restaurant. It's just a part of the arena. It's like, looks like one of those, you know, lounges inside the arena. Like I've seen like at SAP Center, they have a similar setup and stuff.
Right.
But they're out to dinner. The week before, you know, Reggie helped Dana Brooke. He's been helping her maintain and keep retaining her 24/7 championship, avoiding everyone coming after her. She kissed him on the cheek last week. He started talking to her like, are we more than friends? And she's like, no, we're friends. So Reggie got put in the friend zone by Dana Brooke last week, which then I was shocked that they went out to Valentine's Day dinner. Like, if I was Reggie, I was like, why are you taking her out to Valentine's Day dinner? You already got told last week you're a friend. Leave her, let her find her own way, her own Valentine. But anyway, I do respect Reggie. He's the good guy, still taking her out to dinner on Valentine's Day. Yep. So they're talking, they're having fun. We see Tamina and who else was there? R-Truth and Tozawa coming in disguises. You can tell it's them. Terrible disguises.
Tozawa's disguise was pretty good, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Which one was his? It was
it was like he had like a hat on. From afar, I almost couldn't tell who he was. Okay. I was like, who is that?
So they come back. So it said to be continued. They come back and they're all chasing Dana and Reggie. Then Reggie, one more time in the hallway, said, are we just only friends? He said, yeah, you're my best friend. And, good on Reggie. He realized, what, I'm in the friend zone. Then why do I need to keep helping her then? And he just rolled her up, got the pin. The ref came running over, got the pin. Reggie's the new 24/7 champion. Good on Reggie.
Yes.
Do not let her keep using you, man. Good on you. You're stuck in the friend zone. You might as well get the championship in return. So I'm happy for Reggie. How about you? What'd you think how that whole segment played out?
I thought it was funny. I thought it was good. It was one of the better 24/7 title segments that they've ever done. They all kind of go the same way.
Yeah.
Right. But this one was entertaining in it, and it was like a little mini payoff. Like you said, Reggie, got friend zoned, and then this time he was like, "Are you sure we're friends?" And it's just like, all right, well, I want my title back then.
Yeah,
ain't gonna help you keep this title anymore.
We also saw Street Profits beat Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode for the millionth time. We've seen wrestle so many times on SmackDown Raw. That's an example of like the burnout, the fatigue of this roster. It's so thin now. We're seeing these same matchups over and over, so I'm just tired. There's the Omos defeat the Hurt Business, or at least that's what they were called when they came out to the ring. Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. They got kicked out of the Hurt Business twice, and they're still going by that name. I'm so confused, and I feel so bad for them. They were former Raw Tag Team Champions. Now they're jobbing out in quick time to Omos. I don't get it. It's not right.
They should go to NXT.
Ooh, the Hurt Business.
I'd like to see Shelton and Cedric in NXT.
That'd be cool.
I mean, at least they'd be like one of the very few veteran tag teams that they got over there.
It'd be cool, man. And they've been doing a lot more crossover lately. So I think we can get into that more when we do our NXT review this week.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
On that note, let's start wrapping things up. So a lot of stuff, man. Action-packed episode. Cody Rhodes news, leaving AEW. Stone Cold Steve Austin might be coming back to WrestleMania, and our predictions for Elimination Chamber. So, on that note, let's start wrapping things up. Brian, where can the Kliqsters find you online?
Kliqsters can find me at BrianTronic on Twitter and Instagram. Follow my show at Within the Ropes on Twitter and Instagram. It is returning. Yes, whatever Philip says, don't listen to him. I'm still the Bullet Cast heavyweight champion.
Exactly.
Universal heavyweight champion.
And I'm Baby Huey. Follow me on Facebook at Baby Huey Official, Twitter and Instagram at Baby Huey 83. For everything else, please follow In The Kliq on social media at In The Kliq. Also, subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts at. But also, please subscribe to us on YouTube. Watch the videos, leave a comment, hit that like button. And if you want to email me, inthekliq@gmail.com. And on that note, let's go home. And that's the bottom line because Huey said so.